My younger sister, Lily, has been using the same justification since she turned 21. She lost her one true love, so she's entitled to ruin everyone else's happiness. This isn't some endearing tale of lingering heartbreak, it's a calculated pattern. If you're content, Lily will find a way to shatter your joy and pin it on her tragic love story. Does true love even exist? She met a guy named Ethan at a university party 4 years ago. They had a brief fling, and he never reached out again. That became her excuse for every reckless act. It started with her childhood best friend, Mia. Lily spent a weekend at Mia's place, and by Monday, Mia's boyfriend was sending Lily flirty texts. When Mia caught them together in her own apartment, Lily's defense was, "You can't imagine what it's like to lose your soulmate." Mia cut her off for good. Then came our cousin's engagement party. Lily showed up in a dress worth more than my car payment, sipped wine, and cornered the groom in a hallway. He later said she kept insisting he reminded her of someone unforgettable. Thankfully, he rebuffed her and told his fiancé immediately. Lily, she sobbed to our parents about how happy couples trigger her pain. Mom booked her a weekend retreat to recover. By the time I met Ethan, I knew Lily's playbook. I kept him away from family gatherings, blocked her on my social media, and told him my sister was struggling and needed distance. For 2 years, it worked. We got engaged last spring, planning a small ceremony with just close friends. My mistake mentioning it at Mom's birthday dinner. Lily's eyes lit up like she'd won the lottery. "I'm so thrilled for you," she cooed, embracing me. "When do I meet him?" A week later, Ethan chuckled, showing me his phone. "Your sister tracked me down on Instagram with a fake profile. Check out these messages." We laughed at her boldness, and he blocked her. 3 weeks before the wedding, I was bedridden with a nasty flu. Ethan was supposed to be at his brother's golf event, but a friend who lived near Lily's apartment called me, saying he'd spotted Ethan's car in her visitor lot. My stomach dropped. Despite my fever, I drove over and used the spare key Lily had given me for emergencies. I found them on her sofa, her head in his lap, his fingers in her hair, both barely clothed. She looked up, fake tears already welling. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "He's just so much like Ethan." I stormed out. He didn't even try to salvage things. That's when I decided Lily would learn what loss really felt like. Ethan wasn't some ghost who vanished. We'd followed each other on Instagram for years, connected through mutual college friends, occasionally liking each other's posts but never really talking. He lived 3 hours away, worked as a physiotherapist, and posted videos of his golden retriever. So I slid into his DMs with a bold message. "Hey, this is odd, but my sister was obsessed with you in college and just wrecked my wedding. Want to help me turn the tables?" He replied in 10 minutes. "Lily, the one who showed up at my mom's house? Count me in." Apparently, she'd driven to his hometown and introduced herself to his family as his destined love. Nathan Lee, a 31-year-old architect with a quiet charisma that turned heads, had dark hair always perfectly mussed, eyes that seemed to hide mysteries, and a smile that stopped my Instagram scrolling. We met in person at my dad's 60th birthday party, 2 weeks after I ended things with Ethan. I wore sunglasses indoors to hide my exhaustion and arrived late to dodge questions about my love life. At my parents' house, I found Nathan in the kitchen, drying dishes and chuckling at Mom's jokes. "So, you're the famous older sister," he said as Lily introduced us, offering a warm handshake. "Lily mentions you a lot." "I bet she does," I thought, shaking his hand, which was steady and comforting. "Hopefully good things." "Always," he replied, but his tone suggested he saw through Lily's facade. At dinner, I watched how he engaged with my family, courteous with my parents, genuinely curious about Dad's career stories, and patient when Mom grilled him about his plans. With Lily, he was attentive but guarded, like he was navigating a minefield. "Nathan designed that new skyscraper downtown," Lily boasted, clinging to his arm possessively. I knew the one with stunning rooftop gardens. "It was a group effort," he said modestly. "I just handled some of the greenery." "Don't downplay it," Lily said, kissing his cheek theatrically. "He's a genius." Nathan looked slightly uncomfortable but smiled politely. I noticed something then. He wasn't fully committed to her. There was a subtle distance, invisible to Lily but clear to anyone paying attention. After dinner, while Nathan looked at old photos with my parents, I caught Lily alone in the kitchen. "He seems great," I said, wiping dishes she washed. "Isn't he?" she sighed dreamily. "So different from other guys, more grounded, more successful." Wealthier, I translated, noting his designer watch and sleek car in the driveway. "How'd you meet?" "At the law firm where I work," she said, smiling wistfully. Our eyes met across the room like a movie. And he asked you out right away? Not quite, she admitted, her face clouding briefly. He was polite but reserved. It took a few chance meetings in the lobby before he suggested coffee. Stalked him until he relented, I thought. How long have you been together? 2 months, she said, her voice carrying that familiar obsession. She'd used the same tone for Ethan, our cousin's fiancé, and others. This time feels different. He's the one. My stomach tightened. There it was, Lily's fantasy of the one. A story she spun every time she fixated on someone, always ending in chaos and excuses. That's wonderful, Lily, I lied, forcing a smile. You seem happy. We are, she said confidently, though sometimes he's distant, like he's lost in thought. Maybe he's just not as invested, I thought but didn't say. Back in the living room, Nathan was studying a photo from my college graduation. Did you study architecture too? He asked. Graphic design, I replied, but I've always been drawn to urban sustainability. His face lit up. Really, that's a compelling field. Do you know Barca Angel's work? Via 57 West is one of my favorites. I do, I said, surprised by his genuine interest. We talked for 20 minutes about green architecture, the conversation flowing effortlessly. Lily tried to chime in but quickly fell silent, lacking the knowledge to contribute. We should keep this discussion going, Nathan said as they left, ignoring Lily's scowl. It's rare to meet someone who gets sustainable design. Sure, I replied, brushing off her reaction. That'd be fun. That night I couldn't stop thinking about Nathan. Not romantically, not yet, but his authenticity intrigued me. Maybe it was how he treated me like a person, not just Lily's sister. Maybe it was the first real connection I'd felt since Ethan. Over the next few weeks, Nathan attended every family event. Sunday barbecues, my aunt's birthday, our cousin's daughter's baptism. Lily grew increasingly clingy, her displays more desperate. Nathan, try the dessert I made, she'd insist, even if he was mid-bite. Nathan, remember that funny story from work? She'd interrupt, even when he was engaged elsewhere. Nathan, we should go. You said we had plans. She'd lie when he seemed to enjoy himself without her. Nathan stayed polite, but I saw the strain in his eyes, his jaw tightening when she cut him off, his hesitation when answering her obvious questions, his glances for an escape. At my uncle's barbecue, things shifted. Lily was bragging to a crowd about saving a major case at work. Really, she just filed papers someone else prepared. Nathan quietly slipped away and joined me on the porch. Nice spot to escape the chaos, he said, admiring my uncle's garden. It's been my sanctuary since I was a kid, I replied. Family events can get overwhelming, he laughed. I bet you've got stories. More than I'd like, I admitted. Big families are a blessing and a curse, and a sister like Lily, that must be unique. His tone pulled me in. Unique is one way to put it. She's a lot, he nodded carefully, passionate to say the least. That's diplomatic, I said, and we shared a quiet moment watching kids play in the garden. Can I ask you something? Nathan said hesitantly. Go ahead, what happened with your engagement? Lily said you were engaged, but my stomach nodded. It fell apart. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. No, it's okay, I said, taking a deep breath. Lily's the reason it ended. She slept with my fiancé 3 weeks before the wedding. Silence hung heavy. God, Nathan finally said. She told me she was struggling, that he reminded her of someone she lost, that it wasn't on purpose. And you? I asked, meeting his eyes. Did you forgive her? Not really, I said. Does that change how you see her? He stared at his hands for a long moment. It clarifies things, like why she's so possessive, like she's scared I'll bolt. Or how she talks about you like you're rivals, not sisters. We are rivals, I said plainly, at least in her mind. Back inside, Lily noticed we'd been alone. For the rest of the day, she clung to Nathan, touching his arm, kissing his cheek, staking her claim. But something had shifted. I caught Nathan watching me, and when our eyes met, there was a new understanding, like he saw the family dynamics Lily hid. That night, I got an Instagram friend request from Nathan Lee. I accepted. 2 hours later, a DM. Thanks for the talk today, it was eye-opening. I replied, sure, let's grab coffee this week. And so it began. We met on a Tuesday at a cozy downtown cafe Nathan suggested, a local spot with brick walls, hanging ferns, and the best latte I'd ever tasted. We arrived at the same time, me from work, him from a client meeting. This place is incredible, I said, looking around. How'd you find it? My office is next door, he said, draping his jacket over a chair. I come here when I need to think. We ordered coffee and talked for 2 hours about everything but Lily, architecture, sustainability, our jobs, dream travel destinations, favorite books. The conversation felt effortless, unlike the guarded exchanges I'd grown used to. "Have you ever considered grad school?" Nathan asked when I mentioned my interest in urban landscaping. "There are great programs blending graphic design with urban planning." "I've thought about it," I admitted, "but with everything lately, I'm not sure it's the right time." "Sometimes big changes are what we need," he said, "especially after unexpected ones." His tone hinted at his own struggles. "Speaking from experience?" I asked. He gave a wry smile. "Let's just say the past year has been revealing." "How so?" He turned his coffee cup in his hands. "Ever been in a situation you know you should leave, but you don't know how?" My pulse quickened. "Work, not quite." The silence was charged. I should have changed the topic, but instead I asked, "What's holding you back?" "Guilt, mostly," he sighed. "When someone pours so much into you, it's hard to walk away even if it's not working long-term. Even if you don't feel the same." Our eyes locked, and the world seemed to pause. "Especially when you don't feel the same," he said softly. I should have walked away then. I should have said talking about his relationship with my sister was wrong. I should have remembered Lily's betrayal and vowed to be better. Instead, I reached across the table and touched his hand. "That sounds tough," I said. He looked at our hands, not pulling away. "It's been tougher lately." "Why?" "Because I met someone who makes conversations feel effortless." My heart pounded so loudly I thought he'd hear it. "Nathan," I started. "I know," he said quickly. "It's messy, it's wrong. But I haven't stopped thinking about you since that barbecue." I pulled my hand back, aware of where we were. "We can't." "I know," he repeated, "but that doesn't change how I feel." We sat in silence, lost in thought. Nathan signaled for the check and paid. "I should go," he said, standing. "Nathan, wait," he paused. "Lily's my sister," I said, the words feeling hollow. "No matter how complicated things are, she's still your sister," he said. "I get it. It's one of the things I respect about you, your loyalty, even when it's not earned." He grabbed his jacket and left. I stayed in the cafe for another half hour, stirring cold coffee, grappling with what had happened. We hadn't done anything wrong, just talked. But the subtext felt like a betrayal, which was absurd given Lily's actions. That night, Lily texted me. "Nathan said you had coffee today. Cool that you're hitting it off. He was so lively when he got home." I replied neutrally, mentioning our architecture talk, but her words stuck with me. Lively. What did that mean? For 3 days, I kept my distance. No replies to Nathan's messages, no family events where he'd be, just work. But he'd planted a seed, not just about him, but about Lily. I'd always seen Lily as intense or passionate. But Nathan's words made me face what I'd ignored. Lily was manipulative, deliberate, destructive. For the first time, I wanted to give her a taste of her own medicine. The chance came at our parents' anniversary party. Mom insisted on formal attire for photos, though it was a small gathering. I chose a sleek navy dress, flattering but understated, and arrived late to avoid attention. Nathan was in the kitchen, helping Dad with drinks, his blue shirt making his eyes striking. "You look stunning," he whispered as I passed to greet Dad. "Thanks," I said, grazing his hand as I grabbed a glass. At dinner, I sat across from Nathan, 2 seats over, close enough to talk, far enough to seem casual. Lily, glued to his side, tried to dominate his attention. "Nathan, tell them about your new project," she said, gripping his arm. "It's not that exciting," he said, embarrassed. "Of course it is," she insisted. "He's designing eco-friendly housing for low-income families. Isn't that amazing?" "Sounds impressive," I said, looking at Nathan. "Are you using solar panels or geothermal systems?" His eyes sparked. "Both, actually. The trick is keeping it cost-effective without losing efficiency." "What about landscaping, urban farming, or just aesthetics?" "Farming," he said eagerly. "Rooftop gardens, composting, even a small orchard." "That's incredible," I said, leaning in. "Coordinating all that must be complex." We talked for 20 minutes about the project's details. Lily tried to join but fell silent, clearly out of her depth, her face growing sour. After dinner, as everyone moved to the living room for dessert, I found Nathan alone on the porch. "Sorry if I hogged the conversation," I said. "Your project sounds groundbreaking." "Don't apologize," he said, stepping closer. "It's refreshing to talk to someone who gets it." "Lily doesn't care about your work," he hesitated. "She likes the idea of it, how it sounds when she brags, but the details, the challenges, not her thing." "That must be isolating," I said softly, "not having someone to share that with." "It is," he admitted. "Very isolating." We stood quietly, the lawn glowing under soft lights. "Nathan," I began, but he cut in. "I ended things with Lily last night." My heart stopped. "Why? Because it's not fair to stay with someone when you're thinking of someone else." We stared at each other. He leaned closer. "Can I kiss you?" he whispered. I didn't answer. I kissed him first. Just then, Lily flung open the porch door, her scream echoing through the house. Lily's scream was so piercing the neighbor's dog started barking. Nathan and I pulled apart, but it was too late. She'd seen us. The entire family spilled onto the porch. Dad, uncles, cousins, even our 85-year-old grandma, usually glued to her recliner, staring like we were in a soap opera. "Lily, calm down," Mom said, approaching cautiously. "What's wrong? She kissed my boyfriend?" Lily sobbed, pointing at me. "My own sister." "Ex-boyfriend," Nathan corrected softly, which was the worst possible thing to say. Lily glared at him, fury blazing. "Ex. Since when?" "Since last night," he said, voice steadier. "I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen." "You didn't break up with me," she snapped. "You said you needed space. That's not breaking up." Mom stepped in. "Maybe we should take this inside." "No," Lily said. "I want everyone to know what kind of person my sister is." She turned to me, tears streaming but eyes burning. "You can't stand me being happy, can you? First, you ruined my friendship with Mia, then I ruined your friendship with Mia?" I cut in, finding my voice. "Lily, you slept with her boyfriend. That was different." "How? I was struggling." "And I'm struggling now," I shot back, voice rising. "Or did you forget you destroyed my wedding 3 months ago?" Murmurs rippled through the family. Some hadn't known about Ethan. "It's not the same," Lily said, less certain. "Why not?" I pressed, stepping closer. "Why is it okay for you to ruin lives because you're struggling, but when it happens to you, I'm the villain?" "Because I didn't do it for revenge," she shouted. "You targeted Nathan to hurt me." "Maybe," I admitted, shocking the family. "But even if I did, it's still not half of what you've done to me." "What have I done?" she asked, feigning innocence. "Really? Want to air this out in front of everyone?" "Yes, fine." I faced the family. "Want to know who Lily really is?" "I'll tell you." "No," Mom said quickly. "Girls, this isn't right." "It is right," I said firmly. "You've ignored her behavior for years and now I'm the bad guy?" I scanned my family's curious, uneasy faces. "When I was 16, dating Brandon Keller, Lily accidentally told him I'd hooked up with his best friend at a party. It was a lie, but he believed her and dumped me in front of everyone at school." "That was a mistake," Lily said. "When I got into my dream college," I continued, "Lily called the admissions office pretending to be me and canceled my spot, saying I wanted a gap year to find myself." Gasps spread. "When I landed an internship at an architecture magazine, Lily showed up at their office, claiming I had mental health issues and wasn't reliable. They pulled the offer." "I was concerned for you," Lily said weakly. "And when I found someone I loved, someone I was going to marry," I said, voice shaking, "you slept with him 3 weeks before our wedding." Silence fell. "So yes," I said, staring at Lily. "Maybe I kissed Nathan on purpose. Maybe I wanted you to feel a sliver of the pain you've caused me. And you know what? I don't regret it." Lily's tears were now of rage. "You're lying," she screamed. "You're making this up." "Am I?" I said calmly, pulling out my phone. "Because I have your messages to Ethan. Want me to read them?" Her face paled. "Or the text to your friends about how easy it is to charm taken men?" Dad stepped forward. "What's going on here? Someone explain this clearly." "I can," said Aunt Clara, Mom's blunt older sister. "Lily has a habit of wrecking family relationships, and now someone's finally done to her what she's always done to others." "Clara," Mom started. "No, Susan," Clara said sharply. "I've seen this for years. Remember when Lily spread rumors about cousin Dana cheating at her bachelorette party when Dana wasn't even there? Or when she accidentally lost Emily's engagement ring down the drain? And Mia's story. And now Ethan?" Clara shook her head. "Susan, you can't keep excusing her." Cousin Lucas, Ethan's college friend, spoke up. "Ethan told me his side about 2 months ago. He said Lily showed up at his place, claiming you sent her to check if he was really working late, that you were suspicious before the wedding." All eyes turned to Lily, her face crimson. "When Ethan said that was odd because you talked daily and never mentioned suspicions," Lucas continued. "Lily told him you asked her not to say anything, that you didn't want to seem controlling." "That's not true," Lily stammered. "He showed me the messages," Lucas said, "all dated and saved." Mom looked at Lily, her expression one I'd never seen. "Lily, is this true?" "I was protecting her," Lily said. "Ethan wasn't good enough. By lying to him about what I asked," I said. "How was that protecting me?" "You wouldn't have known his true colors otherwise," she said. "He didn't do anything," I shouted. "You showed up with a fake story, threw yourself at him when he was confused and drunk, and acted like it was his idea." "It wasn't like that." "Wasn't it?" I said, opening my phone. "Here's the text you sent your friend Sarah that night." I read aloud. Mission complete. My sister's fiancé was easier to crack than I expected. A few lies, some drinks, and boom, she'll thank me for saving her from a bad marriage. Silence fell. And another, I said, scrolling. I don't even feel guilty. She wasn't that happy with him. She was just settling because she's old and desperate. Gasps echoed. One more, I said, finding the message that hurt most. The best part. Now she's single again, so she won't act like she's above me. Single sisters are way more fun than married ones. Mom covered her mouth. Dad looked shattered. Lily, Mom whispered. Tell me this isn't true. Mom, I can explain, Lily pleaded. Then explain, Uncle Marco roared, his temper flaring. Explain how you deliberately ruined your sister's life. I didn't ruin anything, Lily cried. I saved her. Saved me? I said. You spent 3 hours with Ethan before deciding he wasn't good enough. 3 hours after 2 years of us building a life together. I could tell by how he acted, Lily said. For God's sake, Lily, Aunt Clara snapped. Not every man who glances at you wants you.